I'm going to set up a user management interface, hopefully inside of 15 minutes. I've set up a blank project here. You'll see the solution directory, users and groups, is empty. What I'm going to do is also mirror in the model. We're going to make a new data class called user. We're going to track some additional details about a user in here. Let's add a type field. This will be string. And before we do that, we should have actually added, this is going to be the user directory ID. So this is the UUID in the physical directory file that corresponds to this user. And what's something else that we might track about a user? Last login date. That will be a date. So save that. So I'm going to have the directory track the obviously house the users and groups, but I'm going to have this table track additional users or additional user information. Now let's also create an account data class, and that account will have, let's change on users from user to collection to just users as the plural. And in here each account will have a number of users, and that will be a user type. Let's do that again. Didn't like that I changed the name in the middle. Users. There we go. So that just created a one-to-many. So we have users and we have an account. We can also give the account a name, which is a string. And that's our model. I'm going to go into the web folder. I'm going to make a new page for desktop. I'm going to call it admin. This admin file is where we're going to put our interface together. So we're going to take the accounts, drag it up here, make a grid, create. This will be our accounts. And then we will also grab from the model user. Actually, we'll go into account, and we only want the related users showing up, so we'll put a grid, and this will be the users. Now we're going to make this read only. This one's pretty simple, so we'll just leave it as is with the buttons here built in. We can do add and delete. Let's put a quick interface together. We'll start with two buttons. The add user and copy and paste that. B delete user, delete user. So we have two buttons, one for add, one for delete. We'll line those up so they look half decent, and we'll move them over to line up. Now we're going to, so the idea is I'm going to have administrators and users. So I'm going to do a couple check boxes here. This one will be checked if they're in the admin group, and this one will be checked if they are in the user group. Align those, and we can move them over. Now we want three fields for the directory. So where's text input? Put the labels underneath so I have a bit more room. gotta go up to label here rather than container. Select underneath. Properties, the label will be username. Copy and paste. This will be text field. Full name will be the name. We'll name this one text field username. The label here will be full name. And I'm running out of space here. I'm just gonna go right across here. Copy, paste. And the last field we need is a password. It's text field password for the ID. Label will be password. And we'll make this password field. Grab these three, we'll align those to the line to the top. Space them out somewhat even. There we go. So there's our interface. We're going to add the users in this bottom section here. I'll save that. Go click on Add User. We're going to go to Events, on click, create a script for that. Back to the admin HTML, we're going to go to on click for the delete user. So now we have our two script areas here. In the model, I'm going to go to account, which I think is an appropriate place to put a function for adding and deleting users. So add new user. We'll make it public by clicking here, which allows you to get it from the browser. And another class function, delete user, make that one public as well. Let's go to the admin. Let's name these properly. So this will be data grid users. This can be data grid accounts. And actually we may as well put a label on it. And we'll grab everything, move it down a bit. Okay, so that's the interface completed, basically. Now we're going to make some data sources, variables. First we're going to make is v username. That will be a string. Next, another variable, the full name. That's a string as well. Another variable, the password. That's a string. Another variable, the admin. That's a boolean. Another a variable data source, the user. That's a boolean as well. And this is what we're going to pass to our server scripts. So I've saved that. Let's create these now. We already have these set up. So on add user, we're going to call that server script ds dot, we put it in account dot add new user. We're going to put an on success there, comma. We're going to also put pass our parameters right here. So in the on success, so when the function fires correctly, we're going to perform a function. It's going to give us an event. And so that in here, we'll just put a debugger so we know when it fires. It's going to fire when the add new user event has successfully completed. We need to put in our parameters to pass to this method. So the username, the full name, the password, the admin, the user, and then sources dot account dot get current element. We're going to pass it the current account because we're going to relate this user to an account. So let's save that. Let's go to the add user script, and we're going to be receiving some parameters: the username, the password or full name, the password, the admin, and these don't have to be the same name, the user, and the account object. And what we'll do is debugger. Let's see if we've got this. Oops. Do you want to save changes? I think I hit quit. Save. Let's see if we've got this wired up properly. So we'll start our server. We'll run. And I've got a different default browser. I'm going to use Firefox. So let's put in the, sorry, we don't want index, we want admin.html. So there's our interface. Could have done a little better on that, but regardless. So let's put in Greg, and I'll just put in hello. And will make me both user and an administrator. Click add user. Up pops our debugger. So let's see in the debugger what we've got coming in here. Password, full name, user, these are all blank. So for some reason it is not correctly getting the incoming parameters. That will be, so let's do continue. Close the debugger. That will be the fault of the sending function, so there's something wrong here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a debugger right at the beginning of the click. We'll go to Firefox and fire up Firebug, reload. Let's get a fresh one. Let's do test full name, test password. We'll click both of these, add user. So we have our debugger here. Let's see if our data sources have values in them. So the data sources do not, and I know why. It's because I forgot to do one step in Studio here. In the HTML on each of these we need to put in a source. So this is the username, the name of the source. This one is the password. These are the data sources we set up. So of course they had no value because I didn't wire them up. The password, I put the wrong one here. The full name, the booleans will give them the source. I'll name those as well. Checkbox. Admin. Source is the admin. Checkbox. User. And the source is the user. Now this should work fine. Save it. Go to Firefox. I'm going to run out of time here. But if we reload, you'll now see the values will be full with what I fill in. Add user. So these all have the values on the client. Click play. We should get our debugger up, which we do in the background. Going to run out of time here. See you in the next movie.